What up, everybody? The Godfather of Harlem Season 3 is back this Sunday, January the 15th. And the last time we saw Bumpy Johnson and company, his factory that held all his dougie that he had just copped 3,000 kilos, the biggest shipment of all time, was burnt down during the riots. And we saw Chance calling Bumpy, tell him to get here ASAP. We gotta move this dougie because there's riots going on in the streets. They're burning buildings down. Bumpy was about to be on the way, but Elise told him that Malcolm's life is in danger, so he chose he was going to save Malcolm instead of saving the dougie, and which is an honorable thing to do. But now he is in a big debt and a lot of problems. He said in the trailer that he lost his opportunity to control the blocks. On top of that, he now has a giant debt he owes to the Italians, which he was supposed to be able to pay to them once the shipment of the dougie arrived. Now he owes about a $3 million debt to pay off, that he used to pay off the Masonic group that gave him the award, the Man of the Year award. So he paid them off, but now he owes the Italians. In the episode 1 synopsis says that Bumpy Johnson will steal from his own community to pay back his debt to the Italians. In the trailer, we see Bumpy robbing a money truck. Could Bumpy and crew rob the money truck to get the money back to the Italians? That seems like that would be the most logical thing to do, but the synopsis says he will steal from his own community. So maybe the money truck's in his own community. Not sure. Maybe he robs the money truck in a later episode. But we find out that the money is owed to Joe Colombo, so he must be taking over for Chin Gigante, who we saw going to jail at the end of last episode. So now the new leader of that family is going to be Joe Colombo. And if we remember that Joey Bonanno was also cast away at the end of the season 2 finale and forced into retirement because he put a hit on the commission, the 5 families, to try to wipe it out completely. And we know Chin was arrested because his daughter Stella snitched on him to the feds after her husband, that was a secret, Ernie, was killed for marrying Stella. We see Joe Colombo in the trailer telling Bumpy Johnson that he can pay back his debt by working with him. And Bumpy asks him, "And what if I decline?" And Colombo says, "Now why would you do that?" So we're going to see what happens with the Joe Colombo situation. I don't think Bumpy is going to work with Joe Colombo, but I definitely think Joe Colombo could be a problem. We see him in the trailer shooting a man's kneecaps out and placing him in a car in the junkyard. Colombo is also much younger than all of the other family bosses. He's probably at least half the other bosses' age, which could mean he definitely has a spree of violence upon him, but he definitely might not be as... You see Bumpy Johnson and Frank Costello playing chess all the time in the show. He might not be that chess player that the rest of the mafia bosses and that Chin definitely was. Chin stood toe for toe with Bumpy concerning making moves in the streets, because he always kept Bumpy on his toes. As far as Joe Colombo, I think he's just going to be someone who just... I don't think he's going to be a chess player like that, but he's going to be dangerous in the fact that he might be someone who really resorts to violence quickly. We see Mamie in the trailer telling Bumpy he's either going to work with the Italians or he is going to fight them. War could definitely be on the horizon, but we definitely see Nat telling Bumpy in the trailer that he does not have enough manpower, either Nat or Chance, one of the two, telling Bumpy in the trailer that he does not have enough manpower to go to war with all 5 families. However, the synopsis for episode 2 says that Joe Colombo does a gentleman's kidnapping of Mamie. So even he doesn't have enough firepower, that gentleman's kidnapping of Mamie will force Bumpy's hand to go to war with the Italians. If not the Italians, he's going to be going at war with Joe Colombo for sure. As far as your boy Malcolm X, we see in the trailer Omar from Moss number 7 tied up with guns to his head, and we know that was the one who got away at the end of season 2 when Bumpy came to save Malcolm's life. He killed one guy, I can't remember that guy's name, the guy who ran the Moss number 7 and replaced Malcolm, and then Omar was coming from the back and Bumpy pulled the gun on him and told him to go, and Omar ran off. So Omar's still alive, but we see him in the trailer tied up with guns to his head. And I know for sure Malcolm's life is definitely going to be endangered this season, because the timeline that we are currently on should be right around 1965. We were somewhere in 1964 at the end of season 2, and between season 1 and season 2 there was a 3-month time jump. I don't think there will be a time jump this particular time, but we are already right there at the end of 1964, at the end of season 2 already. Malcolm was assassinated February 21st, 1965. We could definitely see that take place in this season. Matter of fact, I expect it to take place in this season. But before that will happen, we'll see Malcolm looking, since he is no longer associated with the Nation of Islam at this point, we'll see him looking for alliances with other African leaders, possibly Reverend Powell, and we also see him getting arrested. As for Stella, she just snitched on her pops, Chin Gigante, at the end of last season, and her life is for sure in danger. In the trailer, we see her telling somebody that she needs to get out of town as far away as possible. We also see in the trailer the prosecutor. I can't remember his name. I don't remember cops' names. I just call him a cop or a prosecutor or Fed. The Fed tells her statement she made sent the 5 families into disarray. She has no protection at this point. Ernie's gone, which was her husband. Teddy's gone, which was her true love from season 1. Her dad is now gone because she snitched on him for having all 3 of her lovers murdered. And you can go back to Colombo's son that she had, that before we saw this show even start, that she had killed. So all 3 of her lovers her dad had whacked, and now her dad, who would be able to protect her from snitching, is gone. Her stepmother, Olympia, smacks her in the trailer and calls her a traitor. We also see Olympia leaving out of a meeting with the 5 families. Stella is definitely in danger, might have a hit on her head this season. However, we do see her eating lunch with Joe Colombo, and that is likely who took over for her dad. He could have took over for Banano, but I'm pretty sure he's the one taking over for Chin. So we do see her eating lunch with Joe Colombo. Could she possibly be telling Joe Colombo that she needs to get out of town? Could Joe Colombo actually help her? It's a possibility, because he did have a lot of respect for her dad. Maybe they had a relationship that we never saw on camera because he's just being introduced this particular season. Either way, he's the one who takes over for that particular family. As for Bumpy Johnson's daughter Elise, we don't see much of her in the trailer, so I'm not sure what to expect from her after she was kicked out of Mosque number 7 when they found out she was still associating with Malcolm. But we do see her telling Malcolm in the trailer she will do whatever it takes to help him with his cause. We also see her at some point singing at a nightclub, so it could be possibly Bumpy's club, that Gucci that she's singing at. Moving forward with Bumpy, we hear him in the trailer say he's done shaking hands with the Italians, that they just keep him in shackles, that he calls the shots now. So we could definitely gonna see Bumpy this season trying to become independent, like that's basically been his thing since he got out of prison, just trying to become independent from the Italians. But for one reason or another, he's had to constantly rely on them, and I'm sure he is gonna continue to have to rely on them throughout the series, especially if he's gonna continue to be getting his doogie. Because I don't think that anybody took over and it broke off from the Italians until Frank Lucas went over to Thailand or wherever he went to get his own connection. Not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure Bumpy's going to have to stay tied in with the Italians for the long haul. We hear Bumpy saying in the trailer as well that he's losing a grip on Central Harlem, and made me tell him that he needs to establish an alliance. So he goes to establish alliance with the new mob boss Jose Battle, and that is who took over for Joe Bonanno. And this will help him change the balance of powers, just like we saw him establish relationships with Chin, and they had their 10 Harlems in season 2, making a whole lot of money. This is something he's going to pull a similar move with Jose Battle to help change the balance of power. Before I go, a couple questions that I have that I asked going into season 2. We do not see Frank Costello, the triple OG, in the trailer. He was last seen talking to Bumpy, playing chess as they always do, and Bumpy told him to stay at home on this one. There's a hit out on the 5 family leaders. You have a hit out on you. Stay at home this time. Let me handle it for you. So could this cause Frank Costello to go into hiding? We already know he's into retirement, but he's basically used as the ambassador to settle problems between the 5 families right now. But I don't see him in the trailer. I'm hoping Triple OG is still in season 3. And what about Chin Gigante? Definitely a favorite, one of the favorite characters in this particular series. Will we see him awaiting trial? Does he make bond? Is he killed in jail? Is he sentenced to life in Alcatraz? Not sure what happened to Chin Gigante, but will we see him in season 3? Because he is definitely not in the trailer. And we see Joe Colombo taking over for his family, taking over his role possibly in the series. So we could have seen the last of both Frank Costello and Chin Gigante, because I'm already positive that we've seen close to positive. You know, we could always see a plot twist, but we've seen the end of Joe Bonanno as well. So as season 3 of The Godfather of Harlem hits, we are going into a new era with the 5 families. And there you have it. Leave your predictions for Godfather of Harlem season 3 in the comments.